Hello, good afternoon, everybody out in Facebook land. This is Sean. I hope everybody's well. Hey, here's the deal. I know that everybody jumps on at different times, so I'm going to take a little bit for folks to jump on right now, and I'm also going to take a little bit of time to address the people that may join a little bit later, just to let you know that I'll certainly reach back out to each of you and answer any questions or address any comments that you may have down here in the comments section. Trey, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being on. I had an incident this last week where one of the viewers was watching the recording rather than live and thought that I was ignoring them. Mom, I was not ignoring you. I know I wouldn't be invited to Thanksgiving dinner if I ignored you on a Facebook Live. Hey, so real quick, while some additional people are joining, I've got a couple of things coming up that I think are pretty exciting. First, tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, so for all of you that view that either are of Mexican heritage or are fans of Mexican heritage, then we're celebrating that Independence Day tomorrow. I'm a huge fan of Cinco de Mayo. Love the culture, love the food. So we're going to have a little bit of fun and celebrate Cinco de Mayo tomorrow on Fireside Chat. So I hope that you guys tune in for that. Also, I've got a pretty exciting contest coming up. Don't want to reveal just yet because I actually want to be able to show what the prizes are for the contest before I get to that. But I do want to let those of you that are on frequently know that we do have a contest show that we're going to be conducting, and just a little way to kind of give back to people that do watch my posts. So I'm very appreciative, as always, of those of you that watch my posts. So I want to have a little bit of fun with that and be able to have a prize to give back a little bit. It's a way of saying thank you. So today, and you know what? I always forget to do this. Bear with me, gang. I need to flip this thing around. Okay, that's better. That way that you can read, well, first of all, you can read in the background here, Home of the Sooners. I'll move my head. But more importantly, when I hold things up, that you'll be able to read the script properly rather than having it be flipped around. So the topic for today is closing in terms of sales. And the question that I posed was, have you ever flubbed the sale? And what I mean by that is that, you know, sometimes people get into a situation where they're trying to make a sale, they get all the way up to the end, and things suddenly fall apart, don't go well, boom, they lose the sale. So not only do they not get the revenue from the sale, but also all that sunk cost that they've got into the time and effort and you know, whatever it is that they've done, invested themselves in that process. So and on top of that, it's always kind of psychologically defeating, right? Some people take no better than others, but I promise you it's even more difficult if you get time, energy, and your heart and soul invested in something and then you're told no. That's different than just, hey, can I tell you about my product? No. Boom, okay, no sweat, next. Versus, hey, I've put in a proposal, I've put in hours, you know, and then you get up to the end and lose maybe to your competitor, or worse yet, you just drop the ball or say something that's off-putting or can't get there on price or whatever the case may be. Now, the good thing about this, and again, as always, whenever I do these live Facebook Lives, is I want to be able to add value. The good news is about this is this doesn't just apply to people that are in a sales role, all right? This really applies to any transactional relationship, right? So maybe you're asking for a favor. Maybe you're negotiating something, you know, maybe you're buying a home. You know, maybe you're selling a home. So it doesn't, your profession doesn't need to be sales, hopefully, for you to be able to take some value out of this, okay? Maybe you're on a committee of some sort and you're trying to convince people to see things your way. So whatever it is, hopefully you'll see that you can apply this just beyond a formal sales role. Stacy, hey, thanks for being on. Okay, so let me just jump right into it. The first thing is there is a book called Closing Techniques. Big fan of it. Let's see, I didn't look at the number of pages, but we're looking at, roughly 135 pages, give or take. Okay. So I think you would all agree that that's a pretty easy read to get through in terms of a time commitment. And the good thing about that book is hopefully with most books that I share with you guys on here is that they're not real difficult reads. They're hopefully very pragmatic, and they get to brass tacks in terms of what the tips and tricks are that you can take and immediately apply and get some value out of. Okay. But I'm going to try to condense what the purpose of this book is. I do encourage you to buy it and read it at your own leisure. But again, to kind of give you the Cliff's Notes here, I think, some key learnings that you can take away if you don't read it, or at least to tide you over until you do, are a couple of the chapters and a little bit of the topic matter. I think that's the key takeaway from the book. So the first is you've got to understand why people buy. Okay. Or what's in it for them, or you've heard WIFM, right? What's in it for me? But you have to understand who it is that you're approaching, what you want, but you got to understand why people buy. So the first is sometimes people already have something that they think is important. They already have a need. They've already identified it. It's already important enough to them that they might make a purchase. So then in that case, the salesperson is, either supplying a need or fulfilling a need rather, or they're fulfilling a need, right? Whereas the other type of buyer is somebody that doesn't yet know that they have the need, and the salesperson then brings that opportunity or brings that need to their attention. So let's contrast the two, right? Hey, somebody say my car's broken down. I already know that I need to go buy a new vehicle, right? So if you come along and we bump into one another and our paths cross, and you go, hey, I'm a car salesperson, and I've got these cars, then I already have the need, right? So the way you approach me or the way you pitch your goods to me is going to be very different than somebody that didn't even know that they needed a new vehicle, right? So, conversely, if there's a new product, a product integration in the market, right? So think back to smartphones, right? Everybody had a landline in their home. It hung on the wall. It had a cord, and if you had teenagers, you bought the really long cord so they could take it around the corner, down the hall, and into a closet where they could get privacy, right? But somewhere along the way, somebody came up with a mobile phone. And see, people didn't even have the concept that they could have a phone in their car, or they could, keep a phone in their pocket. I mean, if you guys remember, they were huge, and then they evolved, right? So at some point, somebody came to the market or came to somebody and said, hey, you really got to have one of these portable phones. And they were like, maybe I do need to have one of those portable phones. They hadn't even considered it. So that's the second kind of customer. Laurent, thanks for being on. Ryan, good to see you, man. Thank you guys for popping in. And Laurent, sorry, man, I didn't realize that I was broadcasting over your live session. I'll go back and check it out here in just a minute. But anyway, see, you've got to kind of distinguish what you're dealing with or who you're dealing with, right? So understand and recognize the difference between the two different types of buyers. The other piece of advice that I want to give is that before you can even think about closing, you've got to open properly, or you have to open well, because if you don't open well, then you never even get the opportunity for a closing. So that makes sense, right? So again, this topic isn't about openings, but just know that you certainly need to focus on that, which again is identifying the customer, understanding the need, and are you providing value to them? And again, we talk a lot about value. People, they're not going to spend their time, money, or resources unless they feel like they're getting value. So what I've always heard said is as a salesperson, you shouldn't be selling a product or you shouldn't be selling services. All right. I'm going to say that again because I know people are like, what? Then what are you selling, right? If you're a salesperson, you should not be selling products and you should not be selling services. So what should you be selling, then, you might ask? So I'm going to give a couple seconds. If you already know the answer to this down here in the comment section, type what you think the answer is. But I'm going to say it a third time again. Shouldn't be selling products, shouldn't be selling services. And I'm going to give you a hint, right? We talked about understanding who your customer is, what type of customer they are. Are they the first type? Or are they the second type? And then again, you need a strong opening. Yes, Stacy, thank you very much. You should be selling solutions to your people. And whereby your product or solution that you happen to have, or any combination of both, should be providing a solution to your customer, right? So you need to be able to know going into that opening what the problem statement is. And if you don't know it, you need to find an artful way to kind of draw that out of them, right? So you guys have heard the phrase selling ice cubes to Eskimos. And that's always been used as a euphemism of, wow, what an impossible thought that you could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. And I think the implication is that, well, it's already so cold up there and they're surrounded by snow and cold stuff. Why in the world would they need ice? Well, I don't know. Are they building an igloo? Right? So maybe they do need ice cubes. We don't know what size. We don't know what dimensions. We don't know what they're going to be. Are they putting them in a drink or are they building a house with them? We don't know. We didn't ask. We just assume they don't need ice cubes. And so that's a fundamental flaw, right? So hopefully you kind of understand where I'm going with that. So that leads into the next point is you need to know your customer. And Laurent, thank you. You need to ask questions. You need to understand what their problem is, what it is they hope to achieve. All right? And then hopefully you can start to envision and share that vision with them and truly partner with them. So you're validating that they've heard, that you've heard them, and that, subliminally or even consciously, they know, hey, that person is on my team. He's on my team. She's on my team. They're truly trying to help me get from A to B or to the solution of my problem. And they just may have product or a service that's going to help get me there in a good way. So really that comes down to what, again, your final presentation. Let's assume then that you've gone through this iterative process. I've only got about 10 minutes, so I don't want to spend a great deal of time on that. The book goes into it. So again, I recommend that you read the book, obviously. But then it comes down to your final presentation. And again, this is reiterating that you've heard them. You're validating their concerns, their needs, their wants. And then you're basically saying that, they're going to be better off with you because and then you provide, a specific timeline and a specific price for whatever good or service that you're going to provide that will give them their solution. So now you get into kind of, you've got it in their head. Look, I heard you, heard what you need. You're going to be able to achieve your task. You're going to do your job, whatever that might look like, better within this specific timeline and within a specific price. And Laurent, you bring up an excellent point. Is obviously if you've got competition, you want to be able to differentiate yourself from your competitors. So once you've done that, right, now it comes down to the closing statement. And look, there's going to be thousands of varieties based on the words that you can choose. But the one that they use in this book, and I think is pretty good, and I'm just going to read it word for word out of the book, is basically, again, you're going to hopefully be in a position to say something pretty simple like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, I don't know about you, but this program, product, whatever, Makes a lot of sense to me. I think that your company would benefit a lot from working with us. What do you think? So now what you've basically done is you've put the ball in their court to start to share their objections, or you might even jump out and say, hey, what I hear you saying is, or what I think is getting in the way is X, Y, or Z. Maybe it's price. Well, and that gives them the opportunity to say, no, actually it's not price. Maybe it's the timetable that you're saying that you can deliver it on. Or vice versa. Hey, the timetable's fine, but the price is a little bit out of our budget. So maybe it's, if you're selling cars, maybe it's color. Maybe it doesn't have a third row seat. I don't know. Whatever the deal is, right? That's that opportunity where you can artfully pull that out. And then you can begin to overcome objections or problem solve, right? You're solutioning, again, because that's what they want, is solutions to whatever their issue is. Hey, Amy, how are you doing? Out in Charlotte. Good to see you on. Thanks for being on. So anyway, look, that's I know that I really gave you a condensed version. Again, I encourage you to read the book called Closing Techniques. And again, it's not specifically about transactional sales. I mean, if you're having a discussion and you're trying to get a point of view across, I'm thinking right now with all the politics and all of in the U.S. anyway, Laurent's Canadian, but I'm sure it's similar there. Y'all just have one other party, 3, I think, versus our 2. But we've got a lot of issues where I think people really kind of want to get to the same place. They just have very different views on how to get there. And I think that sometimes people get so wrapped up in how to get there that they struggle with, understanding how they can add value, right? So the point I'm trying to make there simply is that you can close on concepts and ideas in terms of transactions for policy and procedure or things like that. It doesn't always just have to be a good or a service or a product, right? So that's all I have. Again, very appreciative to everybody that pops in and listens to what the heck I have to say. Again, if you got any value out of it, down in the comment section, please type value. Over here in this corner, if you would hit the share button, then anybody that you think might benefit from the topic matter, they'll be able to see it on your wall. It'll share with them. Jackie, how you doing? Good to see you on. Thank you. But then I want to just remind everybody that tomorrow we're going to have a little bit of fun. Going to celebrate a little Cinco de Mayo action with Fireside Chat. Have a little fun with that. And then additionally, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and Stacy knows, and she's in on the secret here. We've got some prizes that we're going to be giving away here in the very near future. Don't want to spill the beans just yet, but we're going to have a little bit of fun with how we go about awarding those prizes as well. Just as, again, want to have a little fun, but also want to be able to say a way of saying thank you to the folks that jump in and participate in my chats. So with that, you guys have a happy rest of your Thursday. God bless you. Love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you on Fireside Chat tomorrow. Take care.